A fragment of the relic of the manger that, according to tradition, welcomed the newborn Jesus has returned to the Holy Land. Obtained from the Holy Cradle preserved in Rome, the fragment of the relic is a gift from the Pope to the custody of the Holy Land. A crowd welcomed the Custos of the Holy Land to Bethlehem. The first candle of Advent lights up. The wait for Christmas begins. Big celebration in Bethlehem for the lighting of the tall Christmas tree in the square of the manger in Bethlehem. Manar is an Arab Muslim girl from East Jerusalem. Lior is a young Jewish girl from Tel Aviv. Together with other 700 women, they meet to learn the language of the other. The life of a small religious community arrived in Ain Arik, a village near Ramallah, almost 30 years ago, following the footsteps of Father Giuseppe Dossetti. Once this was a Christian village, now it's almost entirely a Muslim one. The story of Bethlehem of the last 65 years, documented by photographer Maurice Mikel. Images of events and stories captured in black and white with his camera are set in the local collective memory. A fragment of the relic of the manger that, according to tradition, welcomed the newborn Jesus has returned to the Holy Land. A small piece of wood which has crossed the Mediterranean, but which is above all able to travel through the centuries until the Christmas night of 2000 years ago. The first stop is the church inside the pontifical complex of Notre Dame, with the Mass celebrated by the Apostolic Delegate for Jerusalem, Monsignor Leopoldo Girelli. Obtained from the Holy Cradle preserved in Rome in the Basilica of St. Mary Major, the fragment of the relic is a gift from the Pope to the custody of the Holy Land.
Ecco, noi stiamo custodendo la mangiatoia nella quale Maria depose.
We are keeping the manger in which Mary laid Jesus after his birth in Bethlehem. This fragment is part of what was the wooden structure of the manger. It is important because it recalls the mystery of the Incarnation, that of the child of the Son of God who becomes man, incarnating himself on this earth, becoming a man on this earth.
Incarnandosi in questa terra, diventando uomo in questa terra.
The man of today, said in his homily Monsignor Girelli, is the man of the tangible. This relic is something tangible, which brings us back to the exact moment in history when God became a man. The material of which it is made is also emblematic because the pinnacle of the love story between God and man passes through the wood of the manger in Bethlehem and the wood of the Jerusalem cross. Christmas and Easter are both feasts of redemption.
Questa attenzione del Papa verso la Terra.
The Pope's attention to the Holy Land, to the Christians of the Holy Land, is very great, and I have already felt how much people have valued it.
Ho avvertito come la gente lo ha valorizzato tanto.
Per noi è veramente una cosa.
For us, it is truly a very important and beautiful thing to have this relic here. It is proof that Jesus became man, that the Son of God became man, that man can become Son of God.
L'uomo può diventare figlio di Dio.
Presto siamo alzati.
We got up early this morning, a relic of Bethlehem that goes back to its origins, a great emotion. For me, today is Christmas.
Natale.
After a day dedicated to the veneration of the faithful, the Custos of the Holy Land was officially given the relic of the wooden manger. The manger was donated in the 7th century by the Patriarch of Jerusalem, Saint Sophronius, to Pope Theodore I, who apparently had Palestinian origins. Then the procession to the Church of Saint Saviour and the prayer of Vespers on the day of the feast of all the Franciscan saints. The feast also commemorates the solemn confirmation of the rule of St. Francis by Pope Honorius III in 1223. Waiting for the transfer of the relic to the Church of St. Catherine in Bethlehem, a few tens of meters from the Grotto of the Nativity. It will stay here in the Holy Land. It will be a bit of a homecoming for this relic. The sound of the drums, the bagpipes, a crowd in celebration welcomes the Custos of the Holy Land. The day when people start waiting for Christmas is marked by important gestures. The gates of the wall are opened to let a long convoy of cars pass by, the Custos advances on foot among the people, carrying through the streets of the city the fragment of the Relic of the Manger arrived a few days earlier from Rome. It is a great feast in Bethlehem.
Sempre sono momenti in cui I cristiani locali vogliono far festa.
These times, the local Christians always want to celebrate as much as they can to express the joy of the coming of Jesus in our land, in our parish, and in our hearts.
Terra nella nostra parrocchia, anche nei nostri cuori.
It's a holiday because you speak, the faith of the people is very active, and they practicing their faith, and they saw that bringing the nativity or part of the nativity back to the Holy Land, it's an important event which all the people in the Holy Land were wishing.
The relic returns for a moment to the cave of the Nativity. The first Advent candles light up.
In questo periodo d'Avvento e Natale.
During this period of Advent and Christmas, Bethlehem is always celebrating for 2 months. Despite the political situation and economic difficulties, Christmas gives life, hope and joy.
Il Natale dà la vita, dà la speranza e la gioia.
On this special day, there are also groups of young Europeans at the Basilica of the Nativity. They are here for a few days' experience, together with their peers who live in different cities in the Holy Land. As a person who lives here in the Holy Land, a land that cries every day because of the political situation, there is nothing else we pray for except for peace.
Attraverso la loro esperienza e la loro testimonianza torniamo anche.
Through their experience, their testimony, we too go back to the roots of our faith. Sharing the first Sunday of Advent here in Bethlehem made us feel a very strong emotion. It reminds us of the hope that is the foundation of our faith.
Della speranza che è alla base della nostra fede.
The Christmas tree is one of the most popular symbols of the Christmas celebrations. And here in the land where Jesus was born, local Christians, pilgrims, civil and religious authorities gathered in the square of the manger for the special moment of lighting the tree in the city of Bethlehem. The countdown begins, and a show of lights and sounds animates the place where Christ came into the world. The tree, the lights, the people gathered, elements that show that the Christmas climate is already present in many hearts.
Today is the first day of the beginning of the celebrations, and yes, the Christmas mood has arrived, and we hope it's a great season for everyone.
This feast is very important to us as Palestinian citizens. The situation in the Middle East, here in Palestine, is difficult. There are other Arabs who cannot celebrate because of the conflict.
Happy Christmas and a Happy New Year!
Our story, it's not just our stories. We are not just two friends. It's the story of Jerusalem. And just if we meet, just if we learn, everything is possible. We decided to make this happen, to make this possible.
Manar is an Arab Muslim girl from East Jerusalem. Lior is a young Jewish girl from Tel Aviv. First and foremost, they are friends. To tell the truth, they are best friends. The complicated socio-political situation of this earth remains, but to shorten the distances, there has always been the desire to help each other to learn the language of the other, ever since they went to university.
She has a dream and she stayed with really bad Hebrew. Sorry. I have a dream. I want to be a lawyer in Israel. How are you going to do that? You need to study in Hebrew, a whole degree in university. Okay, good luck.
She believed in me, and she helped me all the time.
Today, like next month, she's taking the bar exams, and she made this dream happen.
And then came the idea that other women could have a similar experience. A post on Facebook that simply suggested a meet-up to talk drew, a bit surprisingly, the attention of 250 women. Today, after 2 years, there are 700 of them. Each one teaches her own language and learns the language of the others.
In these meetings, everyone is a teacher and everyone is a student. We don't teach them. We are not in a class, Alif Bait or Alif Ba in Arabic. Everyone just talks.
To open the doors for the first meetings, a restaurant in the center of the old city of Jerusalem. I really like this project. I immediately made this place available because I wanted to support it. The goal is not to make a profit, but to make sure that this idea grows more and more because it brings benefits to both parties. Clearly, peace will not come soon, but peaceful coexistence is possible.
From all neighborhoods of Jerusalem, all groups, all religions, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, secular, religious, right-wing, left-wing, all ages. But I think behind the facts, I learned the story of the people, of the individuals, trying to understand how they feel. We are like in two different spheres, but at the same city. So thank you for that.
The wide participation has led to the creation of a group of 10 volunteers who take care of the organization.
يساعد البنات يتعلموا اللغة الثانية بدون أي تكاليف.
We help people learn the other language for free. This opens up new perspectives in study and work.
على أساس يكملوا حياتهم يفتحوا فرصة عمل جديدة لإلهم أو فرصة دراسة لإلهم.
I live in Jerusalem and I study in the university. I study comparative religion. I start now the second, like the master's, and it's going to be about the Middle East and Christianity in the Middle East. So it's important for me to know Arabic.
Even in creating this project, Lior and Manar's decision was clear.
To allow to other women to came like us, to become like not just two strangers, like two friends.
They appreciate us praying, and they pray a lot. They hear the bell ringing, and they are able to understand the value of such a prayer, which consecrates time and consecrates it to God.
The bell of the community of Sister Miriam has been ringing for almost 30 years in Ain Arik, a village near Ramallah. The village used to be Christian, but is now almost entirely Muslim. The cook of the convent is Italian, like her other 3 sisters.
I made some Genoese pesto with finely chopped zucchini. I'll dress the pasta with it.
The entire little family of the Annunciation is made of 4 sisters and 2 brothers who came here in the footsteps of Don Giuseppe Dossetti. They meet daily in the little church of the Latin Patriarchate for community prayer. They speak several languages, from Hebrew to ancient Greek. Sister Maria Annunziata, 83 years old, listens to them even while she's working so that she can keep up with her training.
He made us learn the languages, not for study, but because we were able to penetrate more the text. The presence in the places allows you to penetrate the mystery of Jesus more.
A mystery made flesh that led the community to accept to incarnate themselves in the local church, to the point of deciding to translate the entire liturgical office. 7 hours of prayer a day, always and only in Arabic.
A sign of enculturation and of the desire to take on their language and their culture.
Prayers alternated with service to the small Catholic community in the village and support for study and catechism. Finally, a pilgrimage to the holy places is the gift for First Communion and Confirmation, which are places difficult to visit for those who live in the Palestinian territories.
They showed a desire to deepen this knowledge. They said, "We belong to this church and we do not know the holy places. We do not know our holy places."
Bethlehem is my home, my soul and my life.
موطني يعني بلدي روحي حياتي.
In black and white, Maurice Mikel provided a way of capturing scenes from life by using his camera lens to document people, places, and events with fidelity. He holds the picture in his hands, which have been taken during the last decades and remained printed in the collective memory. In black and white, he revealed glamorous behind-the-scenes shots of events that happened in the land he loved.
بيتلحم في عيد الميلاد كان الكل ينتظرها والكنائس كانت.
Everyone is enthusiastically awaiting Christmas in Bethlehem. The churches are full of believers, and the streets of the city too. Families are walking with their children with joy, and the streets are filled with scout groups from Nazareth, Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Beit Saur and Beit Jala.
الكشافة كانت حتى تيجي من الناصرة والقدس، بيت صحور، بيت جالة، بيت لحم. هذه صورة في عيد الميلاد.
This Christmas photo was taken for Patriarch Alberto Guri and his motorcade during the Jordanian period.
تبعوا الأردن، حصون الأردن.
Maurice Mikel witnessed the arrival of the body of Saint Saba after the visit of Pope Paul VI to the Holy Land in 1964. He covered the visits of 4 popes to the Holy Land. The first was for the late Pope Paul VI in 1964. He is the photographer of people in Bethlehem and in Palestine in general.
لما علمت إنه القديس صابا بده يجيبوا الجثمان تبعه فصورته وهم حاطينه في الكيامة.
When I learnt of the arrival of the body of Saint Saba, I went first to take pictures of his body in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Then he was brought to the city of Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus, and then to the monastery of Saint Saba in the desert. He was placed in his original grave.
بالنسبة إلنا كمسيحية بنشعر
We as Christians have a lot of reverence to Saint Saba. We ask for mercy from Saint Saba and ask God to help the needy families in this holiday season. Maurice Mikel compiled a series of photographs of the Holy City collected over 65 years of hard work. He spends most of his time until today in his studio of photography, which contains many pictures that reveal behind-the-scene shots and cameras that he used to record many events with innovative ways and stories that evoke nostalgia. I am from Bethlehem, the most beautiful city for me and for many persons in the whole world. I will stay here and will not live in any other area, no matter how beautiful and picturesque.
وحتى للعالم كله.
Maurice Mikel comes from behind the scenes with innovative ways to capture images full of beautiful and amazing stories, his archive of historic images that still preserve scenes alive in our collective memory.